Ons. My name is Megan and welcome to episode 109 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Hi there, for anyone who's new, my name is Megan. I am a mostly knitter, sometimes crocheter, spinner, and once a week cross stitcher who lives just north of Seattle with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. I just want to thank you for joining my little corner of the internet. If you've found me, I do a regular like knitting diary type podcast. So I go through what I'm wearing, which is sometimes a newly finished object, like it is this week. Anything else I've finished this week, whips, new cast ons, spinning updates, books, and acquisitions, and then other knitting related topics usually. Those are just like sometimes by request or just things that are top of mind for me. So I do have one very fun thing to feature this week in my spinning update, which is an acquisition, but also is really cool and not fiber. I'm going to leave you on the edge of your seats. Okay, so let's go on to the normal things first. First of all, today is September 4th, so happy September. Second of all, it is so hot in my house right now. So I have this little fan here. This is just like a, I don't know, like kind of a papery fan that I got last time I was in El Salvador because it's really hot there. It's not that hot here, but my house feels really warm for some reason, and I don't have a fan like in this little office here. So I'm filming really early in the morning, and I also didn't want all that noise. So I'm gonna just like fan myself for the next 10 seconds. Anyway, we are gonna talk about some really fun things. I'm really excited to show you this. It's absurdly cute. I just can't even. I'm so thrilled with how it turned out. I put a note. Ravelry page is done. I'll put pictures on there once I am done filming, and I'll take some pictures after breakfast this morning. But it was arduous, and my consensus to myself is that it was worth it. I hope that you come to the same conclusion as me, because I hadn't even worn it yet, and I was writing up my notes and like putting in measurements and stuff, and I was like, yep, this is 100% worth it. It was worth the 4-color row that took me 100 hours to do. It was worth, I mean, redoing the chart was really easy in Stitch Fiddle, but like all of the 3-color, worth it, because I can't. It's so cute. So let me stand up for you, and we can look at it and see how the fit is standing. I mean, sitting, it's looking pretty good. Okay, that's most of me. I love it. Okay, last time you saw this, sleeves were done. Just a little bit of the body and the ribbing not done. So I will give measurements, but I ended up with like, this is 12 inches. So my belly button is here, which is just about 11 inches. And so I have like an extra inch of the lace ribbing or so underneath of that, which is pretty much exactly where I wanted this to end. I didn't want it to go, you know, really, my full hip is here. I didn't want it to go further than that. And I wanted it to just, yeah, sit nicely there. I love it. Okay. What do I have to say about this? I still think this was a good call, because this lace collar and the sleeves, and I mean, you can't, I'm too short, but you can't really see, you know, it's not really see-through. So even with, I mean, and these are not, I mean, they go above my belly button, but these are not like particularly high-waisted pants, right? And I can wear this just fine. So I feel like this is a really good length. I was a little bit concerned if you remember, when I was knitting this through to this main flower, I was like, ooh, it felt like the yoke felt long, but it was hard for me to tell exactly like where and how the collar would fit. And so And I think I'm slightly over measurements for where the yoke depth is. And for some people, that looks really long. Granted, I knit sort of the smaller size, like closer to the smallest ease recommended. And I think that this is a great fit, like where it sits in my armpit. It's like, let's come a little closer. It's like my armpit, you know, like creases right here. And so this is right here, and it feels like there's enough room. It's not choking me. It's not too tight on my arms. So that feels really nice. And then I did add my one mod other than obviously the color work piece is that I added about 8 rows or so here for like a total of 10 rows. And I think I think in the pattern it's like 2 or something. And then you just do your lace collar, your lace sleeve. Honestly, I probably would have been fine with that. It did block out like to fit pretty nicely, but I also like the way things fit. They pull a little bit less when you have like an actual sleeve. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I think that happens and it's not true, but anyway, I like a sleeve and I feel like this looks good. The color is like so vibrant. It's exactly what I wanted. Just as a reminder, these are mini skeins that I got of linen quill from a friend. And then this is kettle black that I got from D-Stash, and it's just like perfect. Okay, I'll show you the back because there are short rows. So you can see that there's more black here. Otherwise, it's a circular yoke, so it's not gonna look very different on the front and back. I love it. It is a little bit toasty. Maybe that's also just like in my pretty warm house right now. This is feeling a little toasty, which just reconfirms my suspicion that this will be more of a fall t-shirt and a spring t-shirt, which is okay with me. I shall now sit back down. Okay, so I like aggressively love this. I mean, one of my goals this year was to add at least one colorwork yoke to my closet because I really have one. I feel like that's crazy as a knitter, but like I have a lot of solid color tops and some stripes, but not even that many stripes. T-shirt good. Still want to do a long sleeve. Will probably, although, you know, I'm like doing a fingering weight long sleeve after I do color work, but like that's not the end of the world. To be fair, this lace plus attachment took quite a while. I could have just knit a sleeve. But also I don't know that I want a bunch of like DK or worsted. I mean, some patterns are like worsted weight and then you do color work and like imagine how hot that is at the top. So, you know, maybe this is really what I want is more fingering weight color work things. I don't have that many picked out on my like my board, my freeform board. So maybe that's something I'll think about as I go into next year for planning some things. Like maybe this will be another thing I put on my make 9 as another color work, but I'll do a long sleeve fingering weight. We'll see. That sounds aggressive right now, but I love it. Okay, I'm going to tell you the colors as they appear here. I need to put this in my Ravelry page because I did put the yardage I used for each color, but I did not like spell out what colors are where, just in case people want to know like specifically how many grams did this take. Granted, that's going to change over size, it'll change a little over gauge, but it might give you a good idea if you have like scraps I'm going to do this with, because you totally could do it with scraps. So I'll just tell you the grams I used and yardage and go through each colors. So the first one I use is called Cowrie Pink. Was 7.4 grams used, 32 and a little bit yards. In the middle of all of those is Pale Oats, and so is this. So that's like, it's not white, but it's like the white naturalish color. So I'll give you the total because obviously I didn't weigh between the two, but that was just under 5 grams, like 4.9 and 21.3 yards. The first leaf, remember I used 2 colors, though you very much could just use one or something with more difference than I did not. The first leaf is beach grass, and I used 6.3 grams, 27.5 yards, and then 7.2 grams and 31 and a little bit of yards for Sour Gooseberry. And then this really light pink is called Peony Pink, and that was 11 grams total. And there are 5 stars, so used a lot of places, and there's a lot of wrapping and stuff, right? So 48 yards. And then Bright Flamingo, which is the bright pink color, and that is 17.5 grams, 76.3 yards. So a lot of, I think the total of that is also more yardage than like if you just use a spin cycle, right? Because I'm wrapping a lot of other colors in that. Actually, you know what I don't have too? Note to self, I'm going to put a float side picture into Ravelry too, so people can kind of see what this looks like on the inside, because it's a little wild. And so if you're afraid, it will maybe validate your fears. But I didn't think it was that bad. And I don't think catching the floats is very noticeable on this side. So I think that's good. And then the Kettle Black, I used just over I used 203 grams, which was really under 2 skeins. Here's what I have left. They have a little overage in yardage, and so I have this much left of my second skein. It's not, it looks fatter than it is. I knit from inside and outside, so it's actually quite airy in there, but it's like 10 grams or something like that. So that's what we have of my Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. As a reminder, this is my first Caitlin Hunter pattern for myself. I did knit Mike his High Lonesome this year, which is a sport weight color work, and I just used some hand spun for that. Oh, the size for this. So I knit size 4, which is supposed to be 48 inches. My final measurements are, when I laid this flat, it was 45 inches. I never feel like they fit exactly the measurements are, but I do think when I am just standing, it looks like there's 0 ease, which is correct on me. That's what my bust is, right? Measuring right now, 45 inches. So the yoke depth, I measured from just under the lace. So this also means if you changed your collar, then you would still be able to kind of see how I did, to 11, to the armpit was laid flat, was like 11.5 inches. The sleeve length and from underarm is 4 inches, and really the lace is 3 inches. So I knit an inch and then I added the lace. The bicep was 14.5, and I measured just under the lace for that. The body from underarm to hem, like I said, is 12 inches. Again, the lace is 3 inches, so I knit 9 inches of body. I think that the recommended length is something like 8 inches, and then you knit your ribbing, which is like an inch or an inch and a half. So this is longer overall, but a good fit for me. And then the overall length from shoulder, just next to the collar, to the hem laid flat is 22 inches, which is really good. That's right in the wheelhouse of things that I like. Doing these measurements and kind of sharing them on the podcast has also like made some of those things clear to me, like the overall length I like. And so it just makes it a little bit easier when you're knitting things. Obviously, like, things block out and change a little bit, but like I can kind of judge by that. It's like, okay, if I've got a little bit more yoke depth, I still know I'm going to like it to be at least here. Otherwise it's going to feel, you know, whatever. So anyway, let's do some ratings really quick. I rate this as a really fun to knit. No, I would not do it again. I would not do this 4-color work. I mean, and that's not to say I wouldn't do 4-color work again if I felt it was necessary for a pattern. So that is good for me. Like, it's just something you have to know. It's going to take a long time on those rows. The 3-color work, I felt like I managed pretty well throughout. I got done the color work really fast, and then it took me so long on the body. I just lost a bit of momentum and cast a bunch of things on. So but I really enjoyed like the whole process. I actually enjoyed the Kitchenering of this, which is crazy, but like it was a new thing. I'd never Kitchenered in a sweater before, so that was pretty fun to do. Obviously there is an easier way to do this. If you just do not knit a collar, you could like invert or do your own lace pattern for this, and just the only one you pick up is you pick up and then knit your lace collar this way, but you can knit your sleeves and your body down. I was not going to mess with the lace pattern, and I really like the one that she picked for this too. So whatever, that's fine. So for me, it was good. It was I really like the process. I really love the finished object. I would not knit it again just because I don't think I need this exact sweater again. There are projects, if you go onto the Ravelry page, there are definitely some people who've knit this many times. Would I knit this for a friend? My friend Sarah, I feel like this is probably the only kind of color work she would wear if I did the whole thing light pink and a white sweater. She's the only person I would knit this for, to be fair, but I also don't know that this is her style of thing. So, no, is probably the answer. But, I mean, okay, I guess here's my other answer is I love my kid, and I would probably knit this for her when she's older if she really wanted it, because it's so cute. Then we could match, because I'm going to keep this forever because I love it so much. I think I'll wear it quite often because I really enjoy everything about it, though probably again spring and fall, and maybe even winter under a cardigan, because I feel like this thing is so cute. The yarn, I obviously love linen quill. I don't know, actually, like, I mean, this is the first garment I've ever used linen quill in, so I shouldn't say obviously. I have heard some people not like it for garments, and I'm not really sure why, because I found like knitting with it to be pretty enjoyable. It was easy on my hands, like linen and alpaca. I mean, I've knit with that combination, not this exact combination because this is a different like milled base, but I don't find it to be unenjoyable. I don't find the linen to be like hard to knit or, you know, particularly anything. I do think this one, probably just as much as the like 50% alpaca linen silk bases 25-25 that I've knit with before, has like, in the 2 skeins I used, probably 4 times did I pick out a piece of linen I felt was like extra crunchy and kind of hurt my hand, like, you know, I tickled my hand or whatever as I went through, and I just picked those out because I didn't want them there. Yes, they'll soften over time. No, I don't care. So I mean, I feel like good review for me. These colors are outstanding. You can get minis from them in, I don't know if you can get individual colors if they come in a pack. Again, I got these from a friend, so I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, I think it's so fun. It's a great way to get some pops of color, something like this. Like, what a fun thing to use them in, or stripes or whatever. So I still have 2 full skeins of this kettle black, and I will use them for something else because I like it. And I might use them for something else with more of these colors. I don't know. It's to be determined. Now let's go through my second finished object of the week, which should not take us very long to review, and that is my DRK Everyday Socks. I did finish them on the 31st. Not even super late at night, so I had some time left. And these are man socks, so don't come at me with like anything. These are for my father-in-law. All the man socks are done now. So just as a quick reminder, anyone who doesn't know, I am doing a year of stash socks. So using single skeins of fingering weight sock yarn from my stash that did not have project plans to make socks for mostly Mike's family. My mom is also going to get a pair. And this is my first time using the DRK Everyday Sock pattern from Andrew Mowry. I have made other DRK things, the sweater, namely. I just have heard a lot of people really like this pattern. So it is a toe up fleagle heel. Let me just show you that part. I don't remember what I had done last week. Maybe done last week I was like all the way through the heels. I think I was all the way through the heels. So I just had to do some straight ribbing. And then I rearranged stitches and just did a regular Italian, like bind off, sewn bind off, and that was fine. And now you can really see here. And she has like a couple of recipes in the pattern for just like how and where to do color changes. I think there's like 3 options. This is the fleagle heel, so it's got just like a little triangle in the back. And the gusset is in ribbing. The entire foot is in ribbing, which I think is not that common. Like a lot of times you'll see ribbed socks will have stockinette, you know, soles or whatever, but not this pattern. And that is okay. I think that it's going to be totally fine. I remember I think it was like Ariel I was talking to before, and she's made this a couple of times, that she found that it's not uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, then I think this is a good pattern to use. So here we are. DRK Everyday Socks. This is a size 11 in the pattern, which is the biggest size. It's like a men's large. I do think you'd have to add a lot of length for like guys with really long feet. Like I think that all of the dudes in Mike's family, they like all wear size 12, which I think is like pretty a normal shoe size. I don't know. I don't know what dudes wear. And then, but yeah, so I am on to my September socks already, but this is August. They're done. Very excited to have them done. Oh, the yarn for this is Hickory Lane Fiber Co. I don't know if they're still dyeing. This is 100% superwash, one of a kind color that I got off of a D-stash. So nothing really to share about it, but it felt very like beachy with this like blues and tans and, you know, so it felt like a good summer color. But now all the dudes are done. My mother-in-law is done. One of my sister-in-laws. I'm on my other sister-in-laws now. And so all the adults will be done for his side of the family. Then I'll do my mom's next. Her birth month is October. She's very end of the month, thankfully. So I will be able to gift them to her for her birthday. And then I do all the kids. And there are 4 kids. Yes, there's only 2 months after that, but I will do 2 pairs of socks a month because kid. I mean, and like, they're pretty young kids. Like the oldest is 11. So he has like real shoe size. Everyone else is in like still kid-sized shoes. So yeah, here we are. I am now going to put these over here. Okay, I truly have not very old whips going on. So we'll go in cast on order, minus my book snake, obviously. But I am all caught up on my book snake, so I'm really excited to show that to you. Hopefully I have them all downstairs, but I'm going to show you just this one actually rapid fire because this is my Crosshatch Hacked. It's a pattern inspired that I am not using a pattern. It's a 2-color brioche scarf that is inspired by Jared Flood's Crosshatch pattern. I'm not using the pattern. It is just a basic two-color brioche pattern. I cast on like 55 stitches, and I have 2 stitches on either side that are like an I-cord, a two-stitch I-cord, which is making in the main color, which is the black, and that's also what I cast on with in a tubular cast on. Okay, so that's all the information we have about it. Size 4 needles. Oh, sorry, Ulyss, and I think the color is Cell. I'm pretty sure. And then the black is Coal is the color from Knitting for Olive and Heavy Merino. So love it. It's going to be a super staple. I probably only did like 5 inches, but I did only work on it one night this week. And that seems like, you know, not nothing. So I'm going to try to work on it 2 nights next week and maybe get twice as much done. So we'll see. I have so many fun things cast on right now. I want that, but I don't need that right now. And it is more of an encouragement buddy knit type thing. So Ariel's done hers now, but Emily started a larger one, more like a shawl size, closer to the actual pattern. And she is using different yarns, but also 2 different weights. Like that's what the pattern sort of is inspired by. I think there are more different weights than this is, but she asked for someone to knit it with her, and Ariel and I were like, yeah, of course. And she had already had hers cast on for a while. Anyway, she's really close to being done hers, and wants to get that done, I think probably before it gets really cold. I would just like mine to be done by like Thanksgiving. I think that's pretty good because that's when days will get crisp. And I mean, we just don't need a scarf until then. Like maybe not even then. Okay, let's go to the Kaarina tee. This is a pattern by Sari Nordlund, who is Sari N on Instagram. This is at an exciting place. I am joined in the round. Okay, so I finished a ball of yarn and then I needed to wind some. I did actually rip back a couple of rows on the back panel. So I mean, I don't know if I just like didn't measure well or I wasn't reading the right number or something, but I knit like 7 inches on the back and I only needed 6. Or like, I think it was just under 7 inches. Anyway, it was too long so that when I knit the front, when I got to the measurement, I was like, wow, I have like 6 more rows I need to go. And I was like, okay, let's meet in the middle. So I just did 2 more rows and then I ripped back 4 in the back. And so I'm a little bit over the 6 inches, which is fine. It'll probably just mean that I'll keep the same ratio and make sure I have, you know, divisible by 4 number to pick up sleeves, but I might make the sleeves a little bit bigger, but these sleeves are kind of floppy anyway, so I don't really care. What I do think I want to do next though, is I want to do the collar. And I might steam block this if it stays this warm out, because it'll dry really fast, just to make sure I like the fit. So I might steam block it and then try it on, because I'm having a, I like stretch this out, especially just really the ribbing piece here. So not like aggressively stretching it, but just like stretching it a little bit. And I'm pretty close to gauge. So I want to just like see how I'm doing on that. But yeah, I think it's really pretty. The cables are really pretty in this one. I didn't pick this up since like Saturday though. So I need to do, partly because I needed to wind yarn, do some other stuff. I have 2 wound cakes now. So but this is where I was last week. So that's pretty good. I'm going to actually just use this for a sleeve as well. So I'm just going to leave that attached there. And then I will, yeah, maybe I'll do the collar first, steam it, try it on, and then see how I am. Because that'll also, you know, just inform me a little bit about sleeves and things like that. I'm making size 4 in this also, but this is 51.5 inches. The recommended ease is 10 to 12 inches. I'm not going to have that much ease. I'm going to have like 5. And I'm using 3.5 millimeter needles instead of the 4 that's recommended, partly because of the yarn, partly because I was reading the pattern incorrectly. I still think it's a good size. I think I'm going to be slightly under gauge, but not by a ton. So, I mean, fine. Probably would have been a little over gauge with a 4, but only a little bit. So, you know, you gotta just whatever. I'm just gonna go with it. I was like not gonna rip back because I didn't realize until I was almost done the back panel. I was like, I am definitely not ripping that out. And this is Berroco Fuji, which is a mixed yarn. It is 38% silk, 25% cotton, 22% rayon, 15% nylon. It's a really interesting like slubby tweed yarn, and it's got like a little bit of hints of blue. Anyway, I'm actually really liking it. Like, I think the color is going to be pretty nice and everything. It's a pretty cool leaning gray, so excited. I actually think that I'll probably use most of the yarn on this. I'm not, you know, maybe because the gauge is a little bit tighter, whatever. But my row gauge doesn't feel very off either. But you know, I probably only have, how much have I done? Like maybe 1.5 inches under the underarm. And I only have 4 skeins left. I swear. No, I have 5 left. Okay, so I think that's right. I thought that I like had another one wound somewhere and I just couldn't find it, but I think that I used it. I don't know. I think I wound 3, and I think there are 3 in this already. And these are half skeins, so 1.5 skeins makes sense. Seems like kind of a lot, but no, I think that makes sense. So, I just need to get some more pieces done this weekend. I think that'll make me feel a little bit better. Like, this is progressing. I would like to wear it like once or twice while it's still warm this year. Let's move on to my Scorned Sweater. You guys are going to laugh. Sorry about this, but, last week I had like, maybe not even fully 3 stripes or something done. And now I am joined in the round. And I did not move it off of these needles yet. I have like a lot of needles other places, and I just didn't move it. So I was like knitting on this, and this is why I actually stopped. I took the needles for something else too. I think to finish like the last couple of colors on my book snake. And yeah, I need to get other needle, or just other, another cord, because this is now too small. And I keep adding increases every other row, so it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So this is my hilarious, absurd, here we are now sweater. So you can't see anything, but I will show you the little shoulder detail here. And so this is a contiguous design. This is in testing. Sorry, did I call this what it is? This is a Scorned Sweater by Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted. I don't know if that's going to be the final title for it, but this is a pattern for Paisley Knits Advent, which is so you can do a fade. So she writes in several different color options, one color, stripes, fade, how to figure out how much yarn you need and some other things into the beginning of the pattern. But it's a contiguous design. So you are knitting essentially saddle shoulders while you're doing increases before you join in the round, in this one in particular, before you join in the round. And then after you do where you need on the shoulder, you do your increases inside of your sleeve cap, and so you're making a cap sleeve at the same time. We know how this fits me really well. I love it. So I'm doing those sleeve increases now. You can see right there, like at the purple line, is where they switched. Well, I guess it's the middle of the light purple, but where it switched from increases on the outside here to increases on the inside. Can you see that? There. I am using 2 non-superwash yarns from Little Fiber Co. This is, the light is her woolen merino DK, and the darker purple is her Corriedale merino DK. The lighter one is no longer available. This was one she was like having milling issues with, and anyway, so she ended up not carrying this one going forward, but she does have the Corriedale. I think they feel pretty much identical in softness. The merino has a little bit more of that like dry feel than the Corriedale does, which actually I think makes the Corriedale a little bit more enjoyable to knit. So, and that's one you can get now. I think her pre-order may be closed at this point when you're watching it, but yeah, if you can grab any of that from her in the future. It's a woolen spun, both of these, and she has a woolen fingering, which I am excited to try someday. So I love her tonals. Are super tonal too. Like these are really solidly dyed, so I think that's like really great for other things. This would be amazing for color work, cables, even like lace. Like the fingering weight for like lace things would be really exceptional, because it's toothy but soft. So there's that. I am making a size 5 for that one, which is a 46-inch bust. Recommended ease is 2 to 6 inches, but she does put a note in there, and so we were able to choose sizes based on your upper bust too. So you could do that amount of ease that you wanted at your upper bust, and then she gives information in how to do some extra increases if you need to at your full bust. So right after splitting for sleeves. I am using 4mm needles. Pattern recommended right now says 4.5. Obviously, this depends on if a lot of people need to change size, needle sizes to get gauge. This, I think, for me is more because of the yarn choice. So it's so sticky that I needed the smaller needle size to do that, because I don't really tension my yarn. And yeah, and we talked about the yarns. So, and remember, the woolen spun Corriedale has like 328 yards per 100 grams, so it's got a lot of good yardage in it. Okay, let's go to the last one I showed you last week, which is my Happypotamus. This one is really weird to keep sharing because I'm just gonna pull out all these flowers. I don't remember which ones were done last week versus this week, because yes, I am keeping a log, obviously, but I'm not gonna go through and grab that right now. So here you can just see a lot of flowers. Here's my collection of flowers so far. I'll show you a couple of my favorites. I really love this color combo. And this is a little UW color combo here. And I'm a big fan of this one too. Okay, those are just a couple. I'll show you. I have hexagons, pentagons. I think I have one of my octagons done, both of my heptagons, and both of my nose patches. So I'll show you the nose patch really quick, and then we can be kind of done with this. So I have 2 of these different colors, but the nose patch is just a little 4 guy, and it sits on like the opposite sides of the nose. So you'll see the picture up here, but this is a pattern. This is called Happypotamus, the Happy Hippo. I think that's what it's called on Ravelry. But this Happypotamus is by Heidi Bears. I think that must be her name. Anyway, it's Heidi Bear Creations or something like that is her designer name. She has a dozen at least of these patterns for different animals. Actually, one of the ones I really love too, and I would make for Theo like next year maybe, is the dinosaur one. There's like a, I think it's a Stegosaurus. I'm not actually sure what kind of, maybe it's a Triceratops. I don't know. There's at least one dinosaur, if not two. And her room is dino themed, so that would be kind of fun. And I would do it all pinks. Okay, that's just a thought for myself. This is like fingering weight yarn. I am using acrylic for this. You could totally do this with wool or other things. I think I've seen a lot of people do this with like cotton too. Whatever yarn you want to use. This is just yarn I got a long time ago. This will be the 3rd set of hip buys I do with this color set. And I'm doing all white centers, and then it'll join with black. Except for one will be a yellow, and that'll be on its belly. Anyway, that is the plan. And so that is all I have to share for that. Is I've done more. I think I have 18 done in total. So I added 12, which is good. I wanted to add about a dozen a week. That'll get me next week to 30 if I do the same rate. And then I just have one more week essentially. Then I would need to do 14 and I would be done. With those, and then to joining. So I would say in about a month I'll have it done. Her birthday is the end of the month, and so I want to just have this. I probably will give it to her for her birthday. I will not, the end of October. So I have the rest of this month to get it done. So I'm not gonna like slam through it, but I did have a couple of people say, yes, please show partway through the body. I am not going for the join as you go. I am not going to do that in more than one part. So I will just show you one week where and I think you start from the butt. So I'm gonna show you the butt and first set of legs at least, maybe even the second set of legs, and I'll show you how that looks like. I'll just do a bit of joining one of the weeks. So yeah, that's where we are. Okay, and now we're on to new cast-ons. I have 3 this week, so let's get through them. None of them have a ton of progress, so I don't have like a lot to report on them, but I'll tell you what they are. I did say yes to a second test knit. I think I told you this. This is going to be a shorter timeline, but this is for Wool and Pine Designs, and I just couldn't say no because I really aggressively love this. So here's a picture of what they shared for the test. So they have like actual modeled pictures now, and those are I'm not going to share, but I'll just share you a picture of like part of the body on a like mannequin. So this is a contiguous design as well, but it is a v-neck and I love it. The v-neck is very reminiscent to me of the three seasons pullover, just like in the depth and everything, and it's so beautiful looking. And so I chose to go with like a kind of, I think I told you last week, like this was going to be my Jenny cardigan. I've dissolved that plan. And it's just like such a wardrobe staple color. I'm really excited for this. This is called Slate. I did have this kind of special dyed for me from Erin at Back Loop Yarn and Fiber a couple of years ago, and she's not dyeing anymore. So sorry about that, but this is a really great color. If you ever find something like this in person, I say go for it. It is a really nice, like bluey gray, leaning a little bit more blue than gray, I think. And yeah, and it's on her tweed DK base. So it's a 231 for 100 grams. It's 85% superwash merino and 15% neps. Okay. I'm obsessed. I like literally can't. So I finished the first set of increases finally, which means is same as the other pattern. I literally just got 2 rows into, here is all the increases along the outside of the shoulder panel, and this is a much wider shoulder panel, like more than twice as wide as the one from Claire's, so it's going to be different that way too, and the v-neck versus, you know, whatever. And so I just started the increases in the sleeve section. Like I have one increase done, maybe 2, but yeah. I will say one difference, I don't know that you can tell when you block it potentially. Claire has her shoulder panel increases written so that every row, wrong side, right side, faces the same direction. Now, because this whole end, you join in the round after all those are already done. So you know, you could write it however you want, but basically, like, so if I'm doing a left, it's, you know, let's say it starts with a left, then a right, a left, and then a right. On the back side, you do a right purl side, left purl side, you know, etc. Abbye and Selena, and somebody in the test asked if they just did it incorrectly or if their definitions were wrong. And Abbye and Selena said, no, they did it this way intentionally, and it is a design choice. So as long as they're saying, yes, that's intentional, you know, I'm okay with it as long as you tell me it's intentional. And they said you could do whatever you feel comfortable with, but they did it for the, like, how it lays. They did the same thing as like the Knit California one, where every other row, basically every time it's left, right, left, right. So even when you're going back, it's left purl, right purl, and that's the opposite of what the last row was. So every row leans, one stitch leans the other way. What I will say in their picture, which I can maybe flash up, they have a close up of the shoulder. So you can see this, like every other row has like one leg down. What I will say about it is it lays really flat. I don't think this lays any different. I don't think that difference is very noticeable. So I just figured if that's a small difference and that's like their design choice, I was going to just do it. And so I did it that way. So you can, I mean, I don't think you can really tell before it's blocked, but you can kind of like every other row. Stop trying to zoom back there. Every other row has the increase. So, like has the increase more visible, and that's on both sides. I don't know. It's a little thing, right? But this has kind of a big V. Obviously, there's quite a lot of it being like 14 rows or something like that. So it'll feel significant and will help pull it in. I am going to be knitting this flat for a long time is all I have to say. I think you do like nearly all of the increases, like so through the shoulder, like through all the sleeve, like just so much of this is going to be flat, which is fine. It's just something I gotta like strap myself in and keep going, but I don't have a ton of time for this. So I need to like finish this ball of yarn. I mean, it would be really great if I got joined in the round next week, but honestly, even if I don't, I'll be okay, because that's just like such a significant part of the yoke. And I feel like the yoke is the hardest part, obviously, because once you get in the round, it's just knitting. And I'm a pretty good stockinette knitter, because I can do that while do a lot of activities. So, and I can't work at this at my desk or anything because I like need to focus. So this is like an upstairs nighttime project. I am using 4.5 millimeter needles. That's what was recommended. I did pick a slightly smaller size for this than their recommendation. I think their recommendation is more like, I'll put it up here, 4 to 6, 6 to 8 inches of ease. Anyway, a little bit more than I wanted. When they had their modeled pictures, it does look like it's a little bit further, like it has more ease. To me, contiguous designs, one of the beauties of that is that the shoulder panel can sit right on your shoulder so that the set-in sleeve acts like a set-in sleeve. So this is a personal preference, is I just don't like that fit for this type of construction on my body. So I just opted for a slightly smaller size. I may give myself a little bit more room at the bust again if I need to, but I think I picked like 48 inches for size, I think it's size 5. So that's 2 inches, which is like closer to what is recommended for the Claire one, right? Like, so, you know, I don't know. It's my choice, but I'll just make those notes also in Ravelry, so if people are looking at like what's recommended versus what I'm wearing, they can kind of tell the difference. So yes, slate. Loving the color, loving all of the things about this choice right now. I think that test is going to be due like the middle of October or something like that. So I need to get cracking on it. I mean, I'll give myself 2.5 weeks to get the yoke done, and then I just gotta zoom for the rest of it, but I'm not really worried about it. I might just make that the priority project this weekend to get through as much of the yoke as possible, and that will make it feel a little bit easier. The other thing I cast on is what I said I was going to cast on. Also, you guys, I'm doing the things I said, but I cast on for my Hohi Knit Along knit, which is my much awaited Elton. I made an Elton, which I'm going to actually just flash up my picture of the Elton. So this is me in the sample Elton that I made for La Mercerie. This is a pattern by Hohi Locatelli. Obviously, this is her knit along. I love this one. This version has really distinct color stripes. It's really cute. I actually decided, and I definitely think I said a comment while I made that, so I'm just gonna eat my words here, where I was like, oh, I don't, because like Hohi's is really similarly colored, her stripes, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, you can't even see their stripes. Okay, don't care. That is what I'm doing because I actually wanted to use a flock yarn. I'll show you the yarn. I got one skein of fingering and one skein of mohair from the Lamb Good Fibers, the Knotty Lamb booth in the 2023, at the 2023 flock. And there were a lot of flock special colorways, and a lot of them have flock in the name, right? So Sylvan and I both bought one skein of fingering, one skein of mohair, and we were gonna make like Oslo hats or something, some hat with them. And it's called I'm Gonna Need a Flock of This. It's such a fun colorway. This is, both of us like love these saturated, cool tones. Bright tones. When we did our last yarn swap, which was maybe even like January or whatever this past year, Sylvan had hers caked and she was like, I don't want to use these. And I was like, I'm going to take them because then I could use them. Because like, yes, I could still do a hat with this, but I was like, I could use them to do something like the Elton. So this was already my good idea. So I cast this on. So these are the same color in two different bases. One mohair, one fingering weight. So I don't have an impressive cast on right now, but I did do all the short rows and everything, and then I started the stripe of the first mohair stripe. I mean, you saw the picture, but this is like you kind of, not super aggressively, but you sort of aggressively block this to be a kind of an open stitch. This is fingering and lace knit on 3.5 millimeter needles, and that's not like huge. And so it's not super holy in the fingering weight, but the mohair is really open. And then the change of gauge is use the same needles, but you don't aggressively block the sleeves, so the sleeves fit much more small, like much closer. I did pretty much full length sleeves on the sample, and I will probably do this. I'll just go as much yarn as I have. And I know for the sleeves, for the last time I put a note in Ravelry, I would pick up like 10 extra stitches because they fit me, but they were like pretty tight. I would probably stick to that this time around because it's pretty similar yardage to that yarn, though that was a 2-play, and I do think, you know, they behave a little bit differently. Anyway, the colors in this are so fun. Actually, knitting this has been a great time because every time I pick it up, I'm like, you just knit 5 or 6 stitches and then you're in a new color. So it's just like constant, like euphoria over here. Like fun, beautiful colors. Like especially the mohair, the colors are super vibrant. So I'm really excited. This is knit in like kind of similar to the Amaretta, where you do one little shoulder thing, then the other little shoulder thing, then you join them together, then you knit across a couple more short rows, and then you start your stripes. So this is like in the back panel, and I am doing a size 4, which is a 56-inch bust. This is supposed to have quite a lot of ease. I wouldn't want less than that just because of the way that this one fit, the sample fit. And so I'm gonna do pretty much per sample, though what I think I will do is I will also probably, maybe just to help with this picking up 10 more stitches, is I also might give myself like 1 extra stripe before what she says, like literally in a stripe, so before what she says for joining the underarms, because it sits, so it's like such a big drop that like sits down here, and my upper arm is pretty large, and so just to make sure, like obviously picking up more stitches will also help with that, but just to make sure I have enough room, I'll just add one more stripe. And the stripes are not very deep. They're like four rows each, so that'll be fine. So it feels really long. It feels like a lot of stitches. It is a lot of stitches. And I remember this being a lot of stitches even in the round, and I had such a good time knitting it. So I'm really excited to get going on more of this. So I'll have all of the back, and then you pick up along the front shoulder panels. You do some more short rows maybe in the front, because I just, you know, I see the picture. I'll pop up this picture of the side shoulder thing. So you've got quite a big stripe of fingering weight before you get into the next, you know, first front stripe. So I am excited. The cowl goes at least until the end of November, I think. Maybe just till the end of October. I don't know. Maybe the end of November. So I will try to get this done in time for the cowl submission, but also If I don't get it done, I don't get it done, and that's okay too. Yeah, love so far. Last thing I cast on is actually my September socks. Is this the last thing I cast? Actually, I maybe cast these on before the Elton, but anyway, I was more excited to talk about that. These are my September socks. I do have two going at once because this is exciting self-striping yarn that is also, I don't know what we call this. Somebody tell me what it's actually called. Like, I think of it as palindromic yarn. So self-striping yarn that goes both ways if you pull from the inside or outside. So this is always going green, orange, blue, orange, green. So you can also do the same way, green, orange, blue, orange, green, right? So I am doing from inside outside, and they are the same. And luckily for this started both sides with nearly the same exact spot. So it was really like, I was like, let me see, and I pulled the middle, and I was like, oh my gosh, also an entire green repeat. So that's exciting. So here they are. I am using the same pattern that I used for myself for my last self-striping sock, which is called the Basic Sock. It's a free pattern on Ravelry by Rania Grabska, who is Comfort Zone Knits. Yeah. I really like this pattern. I think it's super easy to do. This is a pattern for my sister-in-law. I still decided to do toe up for hers just because I enjoy toe up socks. I'm actually doing the same size as me too. So this is a size 2. It's or 64 stitch sock, and she wears a size 7. She has a smaller circumference of foot than I do by like a whole inch. So this will only have, it'll have a little less negative ease on her. But because I don't know how she's going to like wool socks, etc., I feel like that's probably a safe bet. And then the measurements will be a little bit different than mine. Obviously, I will just knit it like an inch less than mine. So I'm actually probably don't have very much more before I need to start my gusset increases. So I will measure these. I was doing this on the treadmill last night, and then I finished that and I put them down, and I didn't measure them yet. So I will measure them, but I will measure, I will start my gusset increases. This is a heel flap and gusset sock, and I really love the construction of how her heel flap and turn are. And then and I will do those in the black also. I could have done white for this, which would have just been a very different look, but this is for my sister-in-law, who has a lot of really gorgeous, super colorful tattoos, but they have like thick black outlines. So, and I mean, she wears a lot of black. So I figured the black would be a safe choice for her. Plus I think that it will not look as dirty in wear. So, and I'm using Heritage Black for this. And then this is actually my first time using this yarn. This is Bis Sock from Biscotti Yarns. I think they are, it says indie dyer since 2007. I think they are Canadian. Yeah, made in Saint Bruno, Quebec, Canada. It's 85/15 superwash merino wool and nylon, and it has 435 yards for 100 grams. And it's, I'm using 2mm needles as I normally do. And I think the gauge for this is something like 36 or 38 stitches per inch, and I am good on gauge. Yeah, they look like really nice little tiny little stitches. Yeah, and I mean, you know, I love self-striping socks, so these have been a joy to knit. I did cast them on the 1st. Right after, so the 1st was Monday, I did, just Katie came over for knit night to my house, and we had, Mike grilled some stuff, and he's wonderful. He made us dinner, and I was knitting other things, and she was like, you should just cast on your socks. And so as soon as she left, because I have to like concentrate a little bit on the toes, I cast these on and got them ready. And so I'm very excited. And she was also, because inspiration, Katie only brought her socks to work on, and so she was working on her first sock and making amazing progress. And she knits socks so fast because she uses small circulars and she likes them, and I cannot. If I did like them, it would be great, because I do think that you knit really fast with those without having to like do all your needle management, but I don't like them. So that's where we are for that. Okay, let's move on to the book snake. And I'll show you the catch up, and I will go through the last books I read this week as well. I am still out of polyfill. You all, the polyfill journey ended here. Last week, and I did not get any more. I just didn't go to the store. We were busy doing fun stuff this weekend, and so the store was not it for us. And my mom was up in Linwood like yesterday, and I totally forgot to tell her, like, hey, can you stop in here? So whatever, it's fine. This here, I just read these books, so these should be fresh. I don't have to tell you a lot of things about them, but this is the first of the Crescent City books, called House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I really love the Crescent City series. It is more urban fantasy. I know people have feelings about it, whatever. Keep your feelings. I mean, have your feelings, whatever they are, valid. I love these books. And then the second one, or this next color here, is The Jackass in Class, which is the Cocky Kingman's book number 5, one of the brothers that's in school in their like senior year. And I chose to go with Jersey colors because they are purple and gold, and that's a special place in our house. No, I am not a Husky. We do live in Seattle. My husband is a Husky. That is the football that we watch here. It is now football season, so the very first Husky game was on the TV. We're all in on this. Okay, and then I used my mermaid held double from my socks that I made a couple months ago for Consider Me, which was the book by Becca Mack, Playing for Keeps. I am going to continue reading this series. It was a hockey romance. This cover does not look like a hockey romance, but it's really beautiful. So I thought it was a really good match for it. Then I've got Made for Each Other, and I did kind of, the pink is a little overwhelming to this, as it always is, but also because that's the Boysenberry sport weight, and then I held it with a fingering that is like a pinky purpley mix, so it was like kind of the background, kind of her dress, and then the big words Made for Each Other. So I felt like that was okay one. Then I have This Summer Will Be Different, and I went with a gold yarn held with the very last, used to the last stitch, Here Comes the Sun from my mom's sweater. So that is now done, completely out of my stash. Hooray. I have very little of like koi, but I have a lot of still the blue and the teal from my mom's tee. Then we have a lot of reds coming up here right in a row. So I decided to go for this one, and because I could see these coming up in a row, I decided to like, you know, just make them a little bit different from each other. They could have honestly all been pretty much the same. But this is On Wings of Blood, which was that the Bloodwing Academy book 1. And I went with just like the darker tones of that. And then we have the Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong. It's a standalone fantasy book. If you don't have it on your TBR, put it on your TBR. Best book I read this quarter, hands down. I mean, that's like, I feel like that's unfair because I read a lot of like ACOTAR and a lot of Sarah J. Maas books this quarter, and I love those books, but I've read them before. Best new book to me this quarter, hands down, Blood Over Brighthaven. Then we've got Seeing Red, and so this one I went with like lighter aspects. I did a little bit of pink because of a lot of that cover is like washed out pinky red, and you had to go with red in it because that's like, you know, the point of the book. Anyway, then I did this, which I felt like is a little bit of beach, a little bit her bathing suit. So this is from It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. And these were just books from last week. And then here I did, for Crescent City 2, House of Sky and Breath, I went with like a little more subdued, like blues and like gray-y blues from like basically like the wings, like more the blues in like the wings and stuff. Okay, and then we have, oh, and then now we're into books from this week. Okay, so I finished this book last Thursday. I had just a little bit left and I didn't finish it before the podcast. I have so many thoughts and feelings about it. Mostly negative. I was in it for 85% of the book, mostly. So this one is called, Metal Slinger. And I went with like more vibrant colors, like the flowers and stuff are on the outside, and then I paired it with like a dark grays and blues, like so I could capture a little bit of the blade color and then the blues around it. All right, so this book is by Rachel Schneider. It's the first of the Fire Metal series. I don't think I'll finish these unless someone can give me a compelling reason to keep reading. I put in the Discord, did anybody read this? And nobody had. And they were like, oh, there's a long wait. Should I put my name in hold? And I was like, no, don't do it. Don't read this. I got sold this from a couple of people I really like on Bookstagram. And they were like, it's got such like a twist, such a great twist, like this one you won't see coming, like so blah blah blah. I was so mad after reading the twist that I went to Reddit and I was like, do people like this book? Like, what the heck? And there are many threads on Reddit about other people being irate about this and the reasons why they're irate about this. And so I felt better about also feeling mad about this. Obviously, people like this book. It has quite high reviews on like Storygraph. So it's 4 almost 4.2. I just think that people, I mean, listen, you can enjoy what you enjoy. You can totally suspend your disbelief for this. I really dislike how she did the twist. I think it was lazy. I think it doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense to me. Don't like it. So unless you can give me a reason to keep going, I don't want to. So that for me is a cannot recommend. And I'm not going to tell you anything about the twist, but did not like it. Okay. Then this does not look like maybe what you would pick for the cover colors, but I really couldn't find the perfect blue that was like the background. So I went with his suit and her skirt. And so we have a more dark blue, bright pink look here. And this is Overruled by Lana Ferguson. This is the most recent Lana Ferguson book. This one is not a paranormal romance, so I think there's another paranormal romance coming out this year, and I can't wait because I just love her books. If you haven't read any of hers and you like steamy scenes, though not an overwhelming amount, like I would give these like a 2.5 pepper, maybe a 3 pepper, because there's like this one had maybe more like love scenes in it, but not all of them are very descriptive. I don't know. Does that make sense? But yeah, this is about 2 lawyers who are often in opposing cases who have a thing going on, which is like ethically not great, but they end up facing each other during like a kind of high profile divorce case. They're both, divorce lawyers, but shady things are happening within the case. And so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like a good enemies to lovers, he fell first kind of romance. She has like pretty good like banter and other things in her books too, and I just find them to be very enjoyable. Okay, the next one is called The Third. It's the third of the Crescent City book. I actually went with like black from the top and the gold from the inside. So here's what we have, black and gold. This one is called House of Flame and Shadow, and this is what's the last that's out right now. This feels to me like we've got, just like ACOTAR, we sort of have a finished trilogy. And this might be it for these books. The next books that come out are ACOTAR, but I feel like even more than Throne of Glass and ACOTAR, they're like major bad guy defeated. Finally, end of the 3rd book. Not ACOTAR, I mean, not Throne of Glass, that's waits until the 7th, but let's say like in those parts of the series, major bad guy defeated. They do acknowledge in all of those pieces that there's a lot of other things that, there becomes a power vacuum. There's other things going on. We see that in ACOTAR continue in the 4th book. There's still things that they're trying to sort out, like people are trying to like maybe start a rebellion. There's like the human people, like the humans are still having feelings about stuff. And so it's kind of, I kind of like this. It's like she's acknowledging that like if you win a war, there's still a lot of fallout, there's a lot of stuff. So they talk about that a lot in the end of this book, and sort of what might happen. So it's very potential that there are going to be more. And you might know that. If you know that there's going to be more Crescent City, let me know, because I just love these books. Anywho. So there's that. And then there's a bunch of different title or covers for this one, but I went with this cover, which I'll show you here, because of the headphones. there's a reason why if you read this book. I read this one with my eyeballs. This is called Glitch by Briana Michaels. I think this is my first Briana Michaels book. This is Next Level Book 1. I don't know if I'll read more from the series because this is like I think they're going to be like standalone interconnected ones, but this is about Aura and Glitch, the main character. His name is really Sean, but he goes by Glitch. And he's like a computer whiz and she's an artist, and them coming together. And this is like very much a, they've kind of been online friends, but are both secretly obsessed with each other. And so it's very insta-lovey. And this is like very much more smut. This is a smut book. There's not a lot of anything. I could very much see the one conflict thing coming. This was not an aggressive conflict within their relationship, which I did appreciate, that it wasn't like we're obsessed with each other, but then like not able to hold their like things together. No, this was like a very much, we had one date and now we want to be married to each other. And you're like, what? But I'm here for it. You do your things, everybody. Here's what we have done on our book snake. This is about 15 inches added. So I am at 14 feet and an inch or so. So I'll kind of, now I'm just going to be catching up. So, or like doing weekly. So that was our book section also. So now I'll just be able to add, 3 or 4 stripes only, probably ish, what I read every week. And so I'll give you an update like maybe once a month. But it's real long. I didn't even pull the rest of the snake up here. I mean, let me stuff it and that'll be more, but it's just getting like, I'm going to have to wrap this 8 times for us to see it all on one screen. I really can't even show you. That's not even all of it. Here, like this. He's really cute. This is so cute. Okay, so I have a lot of snake. Quite comical. Okay, I have one last really fun thing to talk about, and that is my acquisition / spin update. Well, I'll give this update and then I'll show you. I actually did spin something, but I did not, or applied something finally. Okay, let me show this to you first with nothing on it. And I did just pull this off my wheel. I don't think I've told you guys this, but last spin session with the friends, we were at Maya's house, and I was thinking about this for a couple weeks before, and I brought it up to them, and everyone was like, oh yeah, everyone in my knitting group has the shocked ladybug. We're a crew of ladybugs, which, by the way, a group of ladybugs is called a loveliness, so that's really nice. When we get together, we're a loveliness. But so this is the flyer that comes with your shocked wheel. It has all these little flyer hooks that you go back and forth if you want your bobbin to be loaded pretty evenly. Let me give you an example of what that looks like, because I have more things to show you. So this is my I told you I was doing my airy knit spin. This is the final. This is the end of my airy knit spin. You can kind of see these bumps. Even if you try to evenly load it, you're going to always have like kind of little bit of these bumps. At least I've never figured out a different way to, when to change it. I guess I could change it more frequently. But this is the thing that annoys me, is that I have to change my hooks very often. I spin kind of fast. And this, to me, especially, this is when I was really talking about, is like for plying. Otherwise, you get really big peaks and valleys, and sometimes the yarn travels up the bobbin and then the tension is a little bit weird. So I don't love this. I mean, obviously I love my wheel and everything, but no matter what your thing is, even if you have the kind that just slides along it, you have to manually stop your wheel, slide it, even your e-wheel. So you have to do this and you have to slide it and move it. I've only really found 2 options for auto winders. One of them, the woolly winder, is really, really popular, right? And the woolly winder works in that there's a mechanism that is gear driven, like no electricity, just, like manually gear driven. And so you have to get woolly winder bobbins that have this little gear on them. So it's like essentially the bobbin, this is the tension side of your bobbin. So that sits closest to the back of the wheel. And this side here has a gear on it that then the woolly winder has a gear on it, and this is how it works. Sorry, let me show you. And you can watch videos of this, but like it would sit really close and the gears would touch each other. And then as you know, the flyer moves and the tension on this, they like move and counter or whatever. And it moves the little thing down. The little gear moves a thing that goes back and forth. Okay, cool. I have a lot of bobbins. I like to have a lot of bobbins. Bobbins are expensive. Woolly winder bobbins are expensive. And I was like, And so I was looking at if there are any alternatives. And the only alternative I could really find is this. This is a product from Level Wind Systems, the company, and it is just their auto winder. And just like woolly winder, you have to make them specific to the wheels. This is the shocked regular size flyer. Okay. And this is what it looks like. I'll show you next to the other one. So we have a comparison here. This is what they look like next to each other. It looks a little bit wider, but only just because I think this is a little thicker, right? So, you know, everything, it fits seamlessly. It just goes right into, you know, the orifices, the maiden, whatever this thing is called. So it fits great. It does not, as you can see, have any gears, but it does have this little thing here on the side, which is batteries. So there's 2 AAA batteries in here. They gave me the ones that they use for testing, so I've just been using those and I'll use them till it's dead. I'm going to turn it on so you can hear it. And you can see it. Now it's going to go to the end here because I was just in the middle of a row. And then it starts going down. You can kind of see it moving along the little track. There is only one speed. There's not more than one. You just put it on and it will start going up and down slowly. And it's pretty slow. And it looks like this. So you can do hands-free winding your bobbin. Now this bobbin is a little bit weighted. This is one that I am borrowing from Katie that her husband Alan 3D printed for her, and it's got these really nice metal components so that it fits really nicely, but it is a little bit weighted, so I am getting slightly more load on one side than the other, and I think it's just because of where it's sitting within the shaft, and that's fine. Here's the bobbin I plied on using this, and also well, I'll tell you this in a second. So here's a bobbin I applied using this. It went really well. It went so fast. Okay, there's probably 18 things I love about this, but number one is that I don't have to mess with changing my flyer hook just at all, which is really nice. But especially during plying, the pickup is a little bit different because you don't have exactly the same, you know, like motion and tension. Like I might hold my ply for a minute and then like let it go, you know, so as it's moving, it's just a little bit different. Plus you'll get like a little bit more stacked on top of each other because it goes faster than doing your singles. But I still I mean, this looks really even still. So even with like, you know, different movements, I mean, I think this looks more even just the way that it's stacked. Like it's just so even on there. Okay, but you don't have to change your flyer. So the beginnings of plying especially was like so much better because I don't have to stop, move, stop, move, stop, move. Like, I mean, I literally do it every like 45 seconds at the very beginning so that I don't get any like really big runaway things. That means I'm also leaning weirdly over to be like, is it enough? Do I have to? So my posture's been a little bit better while I'm spinning, which is nice. It goes faster. I think it's also a little bit more even, like my actual ply, because I'm not stopping all of the time and like readjusting how I am. I can just go. I really like zoned out on this, and I think I applied this like in record time. Like it really was super fast. So I will say I reached out to the team at Level Wind because I wanted to know a couple of things. About the speed, and like if you're a fast spinner, does it keep up with you, and you know, how does that work and stuff. They are a small team. They do make these per order, so it took a couple weeks once my order was placed, but they actually gifted this to me. So I reached out and I said I would give them a little bit of a review. So I'm going to do a video that I actually do a little bit more kind of a review, kind of a like, how do I set it up and spin with it, etc. So you guys can see this in action. But I will show up a short clip here of me just spinning where like you can just see it moving a little bit. I think I'll probably put it over myself, maybe even right now or to the side, but you can see it moving a little bit as I'm going without having to do anything. It was like so enjoyable. This was me just spinning outside for a little bit yesterday during my lunch break, and I love it. I just got this on Tuesday, so I'll keep using it to give you guys more of an idea, but I don't know, like, I wouldn't say I suffered through regular spinning, but I definitely think this is like, oh, up my game. This will make me spin a little bit faster. I'll probably enjoy plying more, and it'll make plying go faster. So like, there are definitely pieces of this I'm like, this is going to be really exceptional. I'll maybe get through some of this. Sorry, I just knocked my thing. I'll get through some of this maybe a little bit faster because I'm just going to be like so into it. Plus, I think there's just like something about like even your single consistency, because I spun for like 25 minutes straight yesterday without once stopping. I just didn't need to. It was like so enjoyable. It just went so quickly. And so I'm like really excited. Anyway, this spin also is my Casey color. This is a Young Folk knits colorway from the Podcaster collection from Yarn Jam, also on the Shanico tweed. Really enjoying this spin. So I'm going to do my 3-ply. I did this as maybe this will be my longest repeats, though partly because this color has like a ton of color changes within it. So to keep them a little bit longer, I did this only split 4 times. I think I did the Airy Knit split 8. I'll do the Marlene, this darkest colorway, probably split maybe like 10 or 12 little bumps just to see I'll see how it wants to play too for my combo spin. But and then this I need to wash and stuff, but this was my 2 falling leaves from Erin at Backloop Yarn Co. in the, I think these are both Polworth. I mean, they're definitely the same, but I don't remember. I think it's Polworth. Yeah, 100% Polworth. So, really excited. Anyway, really excited about this. I think this is like such a cool thing. So yes, they gifted it to me, but like this is my very honest review, is that I've been wanting something like this so badly, and I'm really excited about how it works. I will say, like, things to note. You heard me turn it on. It's quiet. I mean, wheels are not silent. Like, the wheel is turning, you're using your feet, so it's not any louder than the wheel. They do say that the whirling sound will probably diminish and be even quieter after about 40 or 50 hours of spinning. Just like, it's just the gear, like the little, and thing in here moving. I don't know how long the batteries will last, and this won't be a good test either because the batteries they gifted me, I don't know how much they test this, right? So I'm gonna just use them until they go. I also have rechargeable AAA batteries in my house, so that's fine too. The nice thing though is, like, yes, I've heard some reviews, like a couple people are like, oh no, I forgot to turn it off. It doesn't matter if you forget to turn it off, as long as you leave a little bit of tension. This would just go back and forth. Yeah, you'd waste your battery, but like nothing's gonna happen to the yarn. Like, you would see it just like moving the yarn back and forth, but like it's not, the wheel's not turning, nothing's happening, so it's really fine. You can hear it though, so you'll remember to turn it off. At least I have not thought that was a problem so far, spinning over the last couple of days. And you can like pause and like fix little bits without having to flip it on and off. Like, even if you like pause your feet and then you can just continue spinning again. This is a little bit more weighty than my flyer. So I have felt that there's a couple times where I have to like, actually, I haven't had to do this in a while, like push my wheel a little bit to start it, like, push from the back, which again, that's not anything that's going to bug me, and maybe my feet will get used to that. So yeah, that's my review. You'll see me post a couple of shorts and a couple of other things about this, just so people can like see it moving. This is a pretty small company, and I have not seen like a lot of people talk about this one. I see people talk about the Woolly Winder, but like, if you like your bobbin collection, this is definitely the way to go. They're very comparable in pricing, so it's not like you're gonna be like, they're not like, way more expensive or something like that, especially because you have to buy Woolly Winder bobbins. So overall, I think it's amazing. Super excited about it. And yeah, I can't wait to tell you more as we keep going. That's really all I have to share this week. So I am going to do breakfast, get our household up here. So let me know what you were working on this week. Let me know what you think of all the new projects on my needles. Oh, by the way, just as a note, I have opened a Discord channel for the Ho He Knit Along. If you're not in the knit along, you can just mute that channel. If you just want to know what people are knitting, you can also join that channel and thing. If you are participating, you can also participate there. Ho He does have a Ravelry thread open. That's like way too many people for me to be like posting things. I'm not like a chatter in that kind of like really, really big environment. So I'll have the Discord channel open. People have been posting. I have not posted yet because I have almost nothing done, but I will post a picture of it maybe today anyway. And then we have our unspun knit along, and that is going to start on like mid-month-ish, maybe the 15th. Anyway, I'll post a thing. I'm going to try to get a knit done. I don't care what it is. Something done before I cast on for this unspun. But I'm definitely doing this unspun knit along with y'all, and it's just going to go through the end of the year. There's probably not going to be prizes, but who really knows? We'll see. More just like casual for us to hang out and chat together. So I will open that channel maybe next week sometime. Probably next week, like at the time I post the episode, because that's like nearly mid-month-ish. So I'm really excited about that. That was a really good idea for anybody who told me that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm psyched. There's a couple people that even put that they were thinking about doing season cardigans, either oversized or the regular. I will say, this is a Zeta pattern. This is probably the first one I'll cast on is the season's cardigan, but I am knitting that because the oversized one is actually size inclusive and the regular is an older pattern of hers, not size inclusive. So just FYI out there if you're looking at her patterns. Okay, I am going to sign off. Please let me know what you are knitting. Give me your thoughts if you have any thoughts about the auto winder. If you have any questions about it, I would love to answer questions as I get used to it and using it. That is all I have to share for today. Please tell me what you've been knitting. Tell me if you're going to join any of these knit alongs. Give me some information about what's going on with you all. I hope that you move around, stretch, and take care of your bodies. And yeah, I'll talk to you next week.